Chapter 785. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The Luan family was one of the 6 ancient families. Luan Xiongfei, ranked 432 on the list of top 1,000 talents, was even more powerful than Shengwan Jinjue. Clearly, Luan Xiongfei had reached the 7th floor. Rumble. Just then, a loud explosion came from the sky and a scorching aura spread toward Lu Ming and the others. Everyone turned their heads and saw a tall and sturdy figure rapidly flying over. His entire body was covered in purple flames, making him look like a purple sun. "It's the Wang family's sky-burning flame skill," someone exclaimed. Boom. In the blink of an eye, the man was close to the 100 Masters Tower, but he had no intention of slowing down. His whole body was like a meteorite, smashing toward them. "Oh no, get out of the way." The others were shocked and quickly retreated. Lu Ming furrowed his brows and stood still. "Haha, get out of my way." The man from the Wang family laughed and smashed down. "Brother Lu, get out of the way." Chu Zhongshuan pulled Lu Ming aside and dodged. Boom. The people from the Wang family stomped heavily on the spot where Lu Ming had been standing earlier. The ground roared, gravel flew everywhere, and cracks appeared on the ground. "Wang Kong, it's Wang Kong," someone exclaimed. Wang Kong, ranked 430 on the list of top 1,000 talents, was one rank higher than Luan Xiongfei. Wang Kong landed on the ground and glanced at Lu Ming unkindly. He was a little unhappy that Lu Ming did not want to dodge just now. "The Wang family," Lu Ming muttered. He thought of Qinfei Ryu. Qinfei Ryu should have arrived in Kowloon City. He wondered if he had gone to the Wang family. If there was a chance, he would ask the Wang family. Luan Xiongfei actually reached the 7th floor. It seems that the 100 battles intent has improved, but it won't be that easy to reach the 8th floor. Wang Kong chuckled. Sure enough, not long after, a ray of light flashed on the 7th floor, and a human figure was sent flying out. It was a burly young man. He was wearing armor and exuded a strong fighting spirit. Flying disorderly heroes, looks like you've failed. Wang Kong sneered. "Wang Kong, I failed. You might not be better than me." After saying this, Luan Xiongfei didn't stay any longer and flew away. After Luan Xiong flew out, the light of the 100 Heralds Tower was completely extinguished. This meant that there was no one inside. Wang Kong snorted and strode towards the first level of the 100 Masters Pagoda. Below the first floor of the 100 Masters Pagoda, there was a door made of light. After Wang Kong stepped into it, his figure disappeared. "Brother Lu, let's give it a try too," Chu Zhongshuan said. The 100 Masters Pagoda could be entered by multiple people at the same time. Lu Ming nodded and stepped through the door of light with Chu Zhongshuan. At the same time, a few others also stepped through the door of light. As soon as Lu Ming entered the light door, he appeared on a platform the next moment. As soon as he entered this place, Lu Ming discovered that he couldn't circulate his true essence at all. Even his spiritual flame couldn't circulate. He could only erupt with the will of heaven and earth. Whoosh! A flaming warblade condensed and slashed towards Lu Ming. This flaming warblade was condensed from the will of fire. It was equivalent to the early stage of level 2 entry. With a thought, Lu Ming's will of fire erupted and condensed into a flaming long spear. He then stabbed it towards the flaming warblade. With a bang, the flaming warblade was destroyed. In front of the platform, a door made of light appeared. "The first level is really easy." Lu Ming smiled and walked into the door of light. In the next moment, he appeared on another platform. At this moment, if one were to look from outside the 100 Masters Pagoda, they would see that 3 levels were lit up. This meant that someone had reached the 3rd level. This time, a flaming warblade was condensed on the platform. However, the will of fire contained within this flaming warblade had reached the peak of level 2 entry. It was equivalent to Lu Ming's will of fire. Lu Ming only used a will of fire to condense a long spear to clash with the flaming warblade. Clang! Clang! The long spear and the warblade constantly clashed, and the sound of metal clashing could be heard. Fighting purely with the will of fire. Not bad. This can train my will and make it stronger. Lu Ming thought as he focused on controlling the will of fire to fight with the flaming warblade. Lu Ming's will of fire was also at the peak of level 2 entry, which was equivalent to the flaming warblade. The two continued to clash. At this moment, 5 levels of the 100 Masters Pagoda had lit up. This meant that someone had reached the 5th level. What a fast speed. That should be Wang Kong. He has already reached the 5th level. I wonder if he can reach the 9th level. The 9th level is unlikely. Luan Xiongfei only reached the 7th level. I reckon that Wang Kong will most likely stop at the 7th level. Under the 100 Masters Pagoda, there were still a few people watching and discussing. Lu Ming unleashed his will of fire and clashed with the flaming warblade. After more than 100 rounds, Lu Ming felt that he had become more proficient in using the will of fire. His long spear danced in the air as he gained the upper hand. After a few moves, he defeated the flaming warblade. Although Lu Ming's will of fire had not broken through the bottleneck and reached level 2 entry, he felt that he was one step closer. After defeating the flaming warblade, another light door appeared in front of him. Lu Ming stepped in and appeared on the platform of the 3rd level in the next moment. This time, a dazzling golden battle sword appeared. It was condensed from the metal concept, and it had reached the 2nd level of the concept of lesser success. It seemed that the wills that appeared in the 100 Masters Pagoda were random. There was no fixed wills. Shoo! The golden warblade was extremely sharp as it pierced towards Lu Ming. Boom! At this moment, Lu Ming unleashed 2 wills. Wind and fire merged together and formed a long spear. In a few moves, it defeated the golden warblade. Lu Ming continued and entered the 4th level. On the 4th level, there was still a golden warblade. However, the will of metal had reached the peak of level 2 entry. Lu Ming fought with the wills of wind and fire. After a few dozen moves, he defeated the golden warblade and entered the 5th level. At this moment, there were already people who had failed and were ejected. The 7th level also lit up at this moment. Someone had reached the 7th level. Below the pagoda, the others looked up to see if the 8th level would light up. But after a while, the 7th level flashed and a figure flew out. It was Wang Kong. Damn it! I was so close to reaching the 8th level. Wang Kong roared. When Wang Kong came out, he saw that the 7th level's light had extinguished, but the lower 6 levels were still lit. In less than 2 minutes, the 6th level flashed and a figure appeared. It was Chu Zhongshuan. He had reached the 6th level and was ejected. The 6th level's light was extinguished, but the lower 5 levels were still lit. There's still someone on the 5th level. Wang Kong looked at the 100 Masters Pagoda and did not leave. At this moment, Lu Ming was on the 5th level. A green ring appeared on the 5th level. It was formed by the will of wind and had reached level 2 entry. Lu Ming still only used the wills of wind and fire. He tried his best to resist, but he was completely at a disadvantage. Chapter 786. Lu Ming didn't want to achieve anything, but he wanted to avoid any mistakes. He focused his mind and unleashed his wind and fire intent to resist the attacks. Although Lu Ming's long spear, which was condensed by the concept of wind and fire, was buzzing and trembling with every attack, as if it would collapse at any time, Lu Ming blocked it every time. Lu Ming blocked the attacks while comprehending them. Outside the 100 Masters Pagoda, everyone was watching. What's going on? Who is it? Why did he stay on the 5th floor for so long? It's the person who came with Chu Zhongshuan. I don't know what his name is, but I reckon that he can only reach the 5th floor at most. That's why he was stuck there for so long. If you can't pass, come down quickly. There are still others who want to go in. Don't waste their time. At this moment, there were others who had just arrived and they snorted. Boring. Wang Kong curled his lips in disdain. Just as he was about to leave, his eyes flickered. The others were also stunned. Because of this, the 6th floor of the 100 Masters Pagoda suddenly lit up. Lu Ming had reached the 6th floor. After enduring for so long, he finally reached the 6th floor. I reckon that the 6th floor is his limit. I bet that he will be ejected from the 6th floor in less than a minute. But before they could finish their words, they stopped abruptly, because the 7th floor suddenly lit up as well. It had only been a few breaths since the 6th floor lit up, and the 7th floor lit up. Below the 100 Masters Pagoda, those people couldn't help but open their mouths wide. Those who said that Lu Ming's limit was the 6th floor, and those who said that Lu Ming would be ejected in less than a minute blushed in shame. This slap to their faces was too fast. The 7th floor was already the highest floor that Wang Kong and Luan Xiongfei had reached. Now, another person had reached it. Interesting. Wang Kong moved back and stared at the 100 Masters Pagoda. The 7th floor stopped again. The 8th floor didn't light up, and no one came out. Inside the 100 Masters Pagoda, Lu Ming felt that he had trained enough on the 5th floor. Once again, he unleashed his lightning intent and fused the 3 intents, instantly destroying the green ring and entering the 6th floor. The 6th floor's intent was equivalent to the peak of 2nd grade minister. Lu Ming only took a few breaths to destroy it and reach the 7th floor. Therefore, the time when the 6th and 7th levels lit up was only a few breaths apart. The perfect 2nd grade intent appeared on the 7th floor. A lightning spear formed from lightning, and it pierced towards Lu Ming. It was fast and ruthless, instantly appearing in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming used his 3 intents to resist the lightning spear. This time, the battle lasted for more than 10 minutes. Haha, lightning's intense intent tests. During the fierce battle with the lightning spear, Lu Ming was enlightened and cultivated his thunder concept to the peak of 2nd level entry level. The power of the fusion of the 3 concepts increased again, and it destroyed the lightning spear in one fell swoop. The 7th floor's Lu Ming stepped into the 8th floor through the light door. When Lu Ming stepped into the 8th level of the 100 Masters Pagoda lit up. Below the pagoda, the crowd couldn't help but widen their eyes. Lu Ming actually reached the 8th floor. Terrifying. This meant that Lu Ming's comprehension of intents had surpassed Luan Xiongfei and Wang Kong. Amazing. Lu Ming is really amazing. Chu Zhongshuan praised inwardly. Humph. Intent doesn't represent everything. This person's intent isn't bad, but his battle strength isn't that strong. Wang Kong snorted. The crowd didn't say anything. They knew that Wang Kong was unhappy that someone had surpassed him. They only raised their heads and looked at the 100 Masters Pagoda. Would he be able to reach the 9th floor? They couldn't help but look forward to it. The 8th floor's intent was the peak of 2nd grade perfect. Lu Ming's 3 intents weren't a match for it. Therefore, Lu Ming unleashed the Earth intent. Once the Earth intent was unleashed, the 4 intents fused and crushed the opponent. Lu Ming reached the 9th floor. The 9th floor lit up. Someone has reached the 9th floor. Amazing, amazing. As long as he performs well on the 9th floor, he might be able to get a token that leads to a higher cultivation ground. The 9th floor is extremely difficult to pass. The better his performance, the more likely he is to get a token. Below the pagoda, the crowd widened their eyes and stared at the top of the pagoda, the 9th floor. They wanted to see when someone would be ejected out. The 9th floor's intent didn't reach the 3rd level. If it did, there would be no need to compete. A 3rd level intent could completely crush a 2nd level intent. 9 battle swords appeared on the 9th floor. Blue, red, gold. They were actually 9 common intents. Each of them formed a battle sword and pierced towards Lu Ming. The 9 swords vaguely formed a sword formation. Boom. The 4 types of intents merged and formed a dazzling battle suit of 4 colors on Lu Ming's body. It covered his entire body, including his face. At the same time, a long spear was unhindered and had terrifying power. Lu Ming realized that the intents that appeared in the 100 House Pagoda were the 9 common intents. Therefore, those who cultivated special intents would have an advantage here because special intents were more powerful and mysterious. Just like the Earth intent, it was the strongest among Lu Ming's 4 intents. When it fused with the other 3 intents, its power was also the most terrifying. Pong, pong, pong. The sound of collisions continued to resound. After a few dozen moves, pong. A battle sword formed by the mountain intent was first defeated by Lu Ming. After the first battle sword was defeated, the remaining 8 intents were much weaker. Subsequently, one battle sword after another was defeated by Lu Ming. Soon, all 9 battle swords were defeated by Lu Ming. A light door appeared in front of the platform. Is that the entrance to the 10th floor? Lu Ming muttered. According to Chu Zhongshuan, it was difficult for ordinary people to pass the 9th floor. It would be considered good if they could pass the 9th floor and even last for a period of time. On the 9th floor, 9 common intents fused into 9 battle swords to form a sword array. Moreover, they were all at the peak of the second level. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to pass at all. Only Lu Ming, who had fused 4 intents and the powerful earth intent, could pass the 9th floor. Then, what would the 10th floor have? Lu Ming stepped forward and entered the light door. Outside the pagoda, when Lu Ming stepped into the light door leading to the 10th floor, the light on the 9th floor suddenly extinguished. The entire 100-house pagoda's light was extinguished. The light is extinguished. That person has failed. They didn't know Lu Ming's name. Something's not right. Why hasn't he come out yet? Normally, he would be ejected after failing. Could he have died in there? Probably not. I've never heard of anyone dying in the 100-house pagoda. Wait. However, an hour passed in the blink of an eye, and Lu Ming still hadn't come out. 2 hours later, Lu Ming still hadn't come out. In the blink of an eye, a day had passed and Lu Ming still hadn't come out. Chapter 787. What's going on? Chu Zhongshuan was also a little anxious, worried that something might have happened to Lu Ming. Chu Zhongshuan, this person came with you. Who is he? Wang Kong's gaze shifted to Chu Zhongshuan. A sharp glint flashed in his eyes. He is Lu Ming, Chu Zhongshuan said after pondering for a while. It was just a name. There was nothing to hide. Lu Ming? Who is that? You don't even know Lu Ming? Seems like you have been in seclusion for too long. I heard that the first place of this year's Heavenly King ranking is Lu Ming. So it's him. Some of the people present had heard of Lu Ming's name, while others had not. Lu Ming, so it's him. Wang Kong's eyes were even sharper, as if there were flames burning in them. Of course, he had heard of Lu Ming's name. During the Heavenly King ranking battle, the Wang family had lost a few geniuses, all of whom were killed by Lu Ming. I'd like to see what's going on with this 100 tower. How many days can you stay in there? Wang Kong sneered as he appeared on a huge rock not far away and sat down cross-legged. In fact, Lu Ming was also a little surprised. When he stepped into the light door and appeared on the 10th floor, he realized that there were 2 old men sitting cross-legged on the 10th floor. The 2 old men were dressed in gray robes, and there was no aura on them, as if they were 2 ordinary old men. However, Lu Ming obviously did not think that they were ordinary old men. It was impossible for ordinary old men to appear here. The only possibility was that their cultivation was too profound, and he could not sense it at all. When Lu Ming appeared, the 2 old men's gazes landed on Lu Ming and they were shocked. Interesting, you have actually comprehended 4 different intents, and have successfully fused all 4 intents. This is very rare. One of the old men said, It's not just rare. I have never seen anyone who can fuse 4 intents and cultivate to the 2nd level. I have seen someone who has fused 3 intents. Another old man also spoke. Junior Lu Ming greets the 2 seniors. Lu Ming cupped his fists and bowed respectfully. Not bad, little guy. One of them nodded. Senior, may I ask what the test of the 10th floor is? Lu Ming asked. Examination? No, you've already cleared all the levels. However, since you've reached the 10th level, the 2 of us old fellows can't do nothing. As the old man on the left spoke, his eyes suddenly lit up like 2 balls of fire. In the next moment, endless flames enveloped Lu Ming. Lu Ming was shocked. For different wills filled the air as he shouted at the same time. Senior, what do you mean? Brat, just use the concept of fire to resist. It'll be good for you, the old man said. Lu Ming's heart shuddered. These 2 old men were unfathomable. It would be easy for them to kill him. Why did they have to do this? Judging from the old man's tone, there seemed to be another reason. Immediately, Lu Ming withdrew the other 3 wills, and only used the concept of fire to resist. When the flames controlled by the old man surrounded Lu Ming didn't feel the slightest bit of heat. Instead, he felt very comfortable. He felt as if he was bathing in the concept of fire. The various changes of the concept of fire appeared before his eyes. The concept of fire has such changes. Wonderful, truly wonderful. Why didn't I think of it? After a while, Lu Ming's eyes became brighter. He closed his eyes and comprehended. His perception was completely immersed in the concept of fire in the outside world, and his own concept of fire had various changes as he comprehended it. This brat has such a strong comprehension ability. The eyes of the old man on the left lit up, and he couldn't help but praise. Indeed, his comprehension ability is amazing to have comprehended it so quickly. However, it's not surprising. To be able to successfully merge 4 different wills and cultivate to this level, even if he had a fortuitous encounter, his comprehension ability is absolutely amazing. The old man on the right said. Just like this, Lu Ming was immersed in cultivation. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. After 3 days, Lu Ming's concept of fire suddenly became violent and powerful. The concept of fire had finally broken through to level 2 initial success, breaking through the bottleneck in 3 days. Not bad, not bad. The old man on the left nodded and withdrew the concept of fire. Thank you, senior, for helping me. Lu Ming was overjoyed. He knew that the old man intended to help him. Brat, don't be happy too early. There's more. The eyes of the old man on the right lit up. As soon as he opened his mouth, a fierce wind blew. Endless concept of wind enveloped Lu Ming. Concept of wind. Lu Ming was overjoyed and continued to cultivate. In the blink of an eye, another 3 days had passed. Lu Ming's concept of wind had also successfully broken through to level 2 initial success. Brat, the 2 of us have only mastered these 2 wills. Consider it your reward for passing the stage. The other wills are up to you to comprehend. The old man on the right withdrew the concept of wind and smiled. Thank you, 2 seniors. Lu Ming bowed and thanked them again. There's also this token. Take it. With your talent, you're fully qualified to cultivate in a higher holy land. A token appeared in the hands of the elder on the left, and he threw it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming caught it and was overjoyed. Wasn't this token the reason he came here? Now he finally got it. Lu Ming bowed again to express his gratitude. Go. The old man on the right waved his hand. Immediately, a powerful force acted on Lu Ming's body. With a flash of light, Lu Ming discovered that he was already out of the 100 Masters Pagoda. He appeared in midair outside the pagoda. At the same time, the true yuan in his body was no longer suppressed and could circulate freely. Lu Ming circulated his true yuan and landed on the ground. Lu Ming is out. As soon as Lu Ming appeared, someone exclaimed. Lu Ming actually stayed in the 100 Masters Pagoda for 6 days and then came out safe and sound. This was somewhat unbelievable. In the past, even if someone passed, they would only obtain a token. No one had stayed in there for 6 days. On a huge rock not far away, Wang Kong opened his eyes. There were 2 balls of fire burning in his eyes. His body moved, and a blazing aura spread toward Lu Ming. He suddenly landed in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming, what did you experience in there? Speak. Wang Kong asked, his tone full of command. What did I experience in there? What does it have to do with you? Lu Ming frowned and glanced at Wang Kong. Lu Ming, what's with your attitude? If I say it has something to do with me, it has something to do with me. Also, did you obtain a token that leads to a higher holy land? Hand it over. Wang Kong reprimanded coldly. Idiot, get out of my way. You're blocking the way. Lu Ming was speechless. Who did Wang Kong think he was? Others might be afraid of him, but Lu Ming had never been afraid of anyone in his entire life. Lu Ming, don't think that you can be arrogant in front of me just because you're the top of the Heavenly King ranking and have a stronger intent realm. Let me tell you, the Heavenly King ranking is a joke in my eyes. Although you've passed the 100 Masters Pagoda, your intent realm can't fully represent your combat strength. I advise you to hand over the token obediently before I take action. Chapter 788. The others watched quietly, knowing that Wang Kong was trying to snatch Lu Ming's token. It all depended on how Lu Ming would deal with it. Chu Zhongshuan wanted to speak up for Lu Ming, but the Wang family was too powerful. If he spoke up, he might get himself into trouble. He thought for a while and decided not to say anything. Get out of my way. A good dog doesn't block the way. Lu Ming had completely lost his patience. His face turned cold as he scolded coldly. You're courting death. Wang Kong's eyes were completely cold. His body emitted blazing flames, and the terrifying temperature distorted the space. Boom! He stepped out, his hand like a heavenly blade, and slashed at Lu Ming. "Get out of my way!" Lu Ming also struck out with his palm, activating the hell-suppressing heaven skill. Bang! Their palms collided with a buzzing sound. Lu Ming's body shook slightly, while Wang Kong took 2 steps back. Wherever his feet stepped, the rock was directly vaporized by the terrifying temperature, and 2 dark holes appeared. "Let's fight in the air." Lu Ming rose into the air and appeared in the sky. Kill! Wang Kong's killing intent surged, and the temperature on his body became even more terrifying. The Wang family's sky-burning flame technique was activated to the extreme. At the same time, the pure purple heavenly fire bloodline burst out, making Wang Kong look like he was about to completely turn into a ball of fire. His aura was many times stronger than Wang Ju's when he was still a Peking. Wang Kong's cultivation was also at the peak of the 3rd level of the spiritual sea realm. Sky-burning flame. Incineration cut. A saber appeared in Wang Kong's hand, which was also filled with terrifying flames. This is the evolution of the fire essence, the incineration essence. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Wang Kong's talent was indeed terrifying, as he ranked 430th on the list of top 1,000 talents. He had actually evolved the fire essence into the even more terrifying incineration essence. The essence of heaven and earth was not unchanging. It did not mean that the fire essence would be the fire essence just because you comprehended it. Some geniuses with terrifying talent could evolve on the basis of this kind of concept, evolving into an even more terrifying concept. As for what kind of intent realm they could evolve into, it was different for everyone. It would depend on themselves. For example, the 9 great concepts seemed to be the weakest, but they also had the most limitless possibilities. For example, the concept of fire could evolve into countless other concepts related to fire. Many of them were extremely powerful, far surpassing the concept of fire itself. The concept of incineration was one of the evolutions of the concept of fire. Whoosh! A terrifying saber light slashed towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming's body emitted 4 different wills, which merged with the Jinyu Heaven skill. He slashed out a palm towards Wang Kong. Boom! In the sky, there was a terrifying explosion. The clouds were torn apart, and 5 different colors of light filled the entire sky. This time, Lu Ming's figure only swayed a little, but Wang Kong retreated 9 steps consecutively with a loud thud. How is this possible? Wang Kong's eyes were filled with shock. He had already unleashed his full strength, but he was still pushed back by Lu Ming's palm. He simply couldn't believe it. He was the genius of the Wang family. The Wang family cultivated the Raging Flame sky-burning art, which was a deity-level cultivation technique. In addition, his intent had evolved and comprehended the concept of incineration. Moreover, his bloodline martial technique was also extremely powerful and was also a demigod martial technique. It could be said that he had no shortcomings. In a battle of the same level, except for a limited number of monstrous geniuses or deity-level geniuses who had awakened a deity-level bloodline, he feared no one. However, right now, Lu Ming had actually skipped levels and defeated him. When had he ever been pushed back by someone with a higher level? Damn it! Wang Kong roared, and the flames on his body roared as if they were going to burn the world. Is there any use in yelling? Lu Ming took a step forward and slashed at Wang Kong with his palm. Boom! The 2 exchanged blows, and Wang Kong retreated again. To be honest, Wang Kong was very strong. He was much stronger than Shangguan Jinjue. When Shangguan Jinjue faced Lu Ming, he was completely suppressed and killed in a few moves. As for Wang Kong, he could still block, although he was completely at a disadvantage. Bang! 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 After more than 10 moves, Wang Kong was completely suppressed. No matter how much he roared, it was useless. Bang! In the end, Wang Kong was sent flying over 1,000 meters by Lu Ming's palm, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Lu Ming, just you wait. Wang Kong roared and turned to leave, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Lu Ming did not chase after him. Wang Kong was very strong, extremely strong. If he wanted to leave, Lu Ming would not be able to kill him, unless he used the inscription Dao and cooperated with him. The surrounding people looked at Lu Ming in shock. Lu Ming had actually defeated Wang Kong, and it was a battle of a higher level. It was really terrifying. Brother Lu is really powerful. I admire you. Chu Zhongshuan walked over and said, still with a look of amazement on his face. You're welcome, Brother Chu. I need to find a place to cultivate in seclusion. I'll take my leave now. Lu Ming cupped his fists and then stepped into the air and left. Some of the people left behind were full of doubts. They were guessing whether Lu Ming had obtained a token that led to a higher cultivation sacred ground. After flying for tens of thousands of miles, Lu Ming landed on a mountain peak and then entered the Temple of Paragon. 5 or 6 storage rings appeared in his hand. These storage rings were obtained from the enemies he had killed, such as Shangguan Jinjue and the others. They were all above the spiritual sea realm, and there were even some at the 5th level of the spiritual sea realm in Shangguan Jinjue. There were many things inside. Not to mention other things, just the top-grade spiritual crystals added up to 800 million. There were even dozens of mid-grade profound crystals, but there were all kinds of them. There were also many martial skills, spiritual weapons, and elixirs. It was a pity that there were no origin stones, but Lu Ming was satisfied. Now, his 4 intents had all reached the peak of the 2nd level, and even his wind and fire intents had reached the 2nd level. He could continue to devour spiritual crystals to increase his cultivation. However, 800 million spiritual crystals wouldn't increase his cultivation by much. Lu Ming had consumed more than 800 million spiritual crystals in the process of breaking through to the spiritual sea realm from the Martial King realm. Moreover, he had cultivated the super spiritual sea. If Lu Ming wanted to increase his cultivation now, he would need to consume even more energy. Bang, bang, bang. Piles of top-grade spiritual crystals were devoured, and Lu Ming started to refine them crazily. 100 million, 200 million. Not long after, Lu Ming had refined 600 million of the 800 million spiritual crystals. Lu Ming's cultivation had reached the peak of the 2nd level of the spiritual sea realm. If he wanted to break through to the 3rd level of the spiritual sea realm, the remaining 200 million spiritual crystals weren't enough. Lu Ming didn't continue to devour them. However, reaching the peak of the 2nd level of the spiritual sea realm also increased Lu Ming's true origin by a lot. In his spiritual sea, true origin was surging. At this moment, a spiritual medicine appeared in Lu Ming's hand. It was a 6th level spiritual medicine. For a long time, Lu Ming hadn't cultivated his physical body. Now, it was time for him to cultivate properly. Using the 10,000 spirit battle body, he started to refine the spiritual medicine and cultivate his physical body. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. Lu Ming had refined more than 26th level spiritual medicine, and his physical body had reached the peak of the 7th level. Chapter 789. After a few days of cultivation, Lu Ming's strength had improved a little. He ended his seclusion and continued to look for seals to comprehend the essence. Half a day later, Lu Ming sat cross-legged beside a huge stone axe and quietly comprehended. The essence that this stone axe exuded was the earth essence. There were not many people who could comprehend the earth essence. Including Lu Ming, there were only 5 people around the stone axe. The head of the dragon vein was the center of the dragon vein. The spiritual chi of heaven and earth was so dense that it turned into mist and drifted between heaven and earth. There was even an essence of heaven and earth permeating between heaven and earth. Obviously, there was a Tao eye in the dragon vein that could allow one to comprehend the essence of heaven and earth. The Wang family of the 6 ancient aristocratic families was located here. In a courtyard of the Wang family, Wang Kong stood beside a slender young man wearing a cloud pattern. There was no arrogance on his face. Instead, there was awe and fear. Wang Kong, do you mean that the person called Lu Ming might have obtained a token that leads to a higher cultivation sacred ground? The young man asked. His voice was not loud, but it was full of authority. Brother Haoyan, yes. Lu Ming reached the 9th floor and stayed there for 6 days. It's very likely that he got a token. Wang Kong answered honestly. Oh, that's very likely. I must get that token. I want to enter the blood pool with it and condense the 3rd bloodline. Wang Kong, go get it for me. The young man's eyes lit up. The young man was Wang Haoyan, ranked 356th on the list of top 1,000 talents. Although he was only a few dozen places higher than Wang Kong, they were not in the same league. Those in the top 300 were called God-level geniuses. Wang Haoyan was in the top 400, close to the top 300. He was a quasi-god-level genius who was about to awaken the third bloodline. Once he awakened the third bloodline, and it was a god-level bloodline, he would be a god-level genius. Unfortunately, although Wang Haoyan reached the 9th floor of the 100 Masters Tower, he did not get a token to go to a higher cultivation Holy Land. Wang Kong knew that Wang Haoyan wanted to get a token to go to a higher cultivation Holy Land, the Blood Pool, to accumulate bloodline power and condense the god-level bloodline. Therefore, when he knew that Lu Ming might have a token, he had to get it. Wang Kong's expression changed slightly. Brother Haoyan, that Lu Ming's combat strength is very strong. I couldn't defeat him last time. Hee, so that's the case. No wonder you came looking for me. No matter, as long as you mention my name, I don't think he would dare to refuse. Go. Wang Haoyan waved his hand. Okay. Wang Kong nodded and left. Lu Ming stood beside the stone axe. This enlightenment took him 5 days. Lu Ming had gained a lot. He felt that the Earth concept could break through to level 2 initial success at any time. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly turned his head and looked in one direction. Wang Kong. Wang Kong said coldly, "Why? Are you looking for trouble again?" Lu Ming smiled faintly. As soon as these words were spoken, the other 4 people beside Shi Fu revealed a trace of shock. Could it be that Wang Kong was really defeated by this young man before them? Wang Kong's face darkened. I'm not the one looking for you this time. Wang Haoyan. You should have heard of him, right? The quasi-god-level prodigy, Wang Haoyan, ranked 356th. Lu Ming was surprised. That's right. He asked me to take the token from you. Hand it over. Wang Kong said coldly, his tone revealing a hint of threat. Ha ha ha. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly burst into laughter. What are you laughing at? Wang Kong's face darkened. I'm laughing at your Wang family. You're one of the 6 ancient families. What a disgrace. You don't have the ability to get it, but you want to get it from others. Who does Wang Haoyan think he is? If he wants it, ask him to come and get it himself. Lu Ming laughed. His tone was full of disdain. Lu Ming, how dare you insult my Wang family? No one can save you. Wang Kong roared. Do you want to try? Lu Ming's eyes were as sharp as a blade. He exuded a powerful aura and took a step forward. Boom. Heaven and earth roared. Lu Ming's body exuded a powerful aura. Wang Kong's face changed drastically. He retreated quickly and shouted, Lu Ming, just you wait. After saying that, he left quickly. Coward. Lu Ming shook his head and continued to sit cross-legged beside the stone axe. However, just as he sat down, Lu Ming's expression changed. A voice transmission jade talisman appeared in his hand. He scanned it with his mind, and his face changed slightly. It was a message from Qiao Xian. She seemed to be quite anxious. She had something urgent to tell Lu Ming, and asked Lu Ming to meet her at a place. Lu Ming furrowed his brows and stopped cultivating. He flew towards the address that Qiao Xian left behind. A few hours later, Lu Ming met Qiao Xian. Lu Ming, something happened to Fatty and Ting Ting? Qiao Xian said anxiously as soon as she saw Lu Ming. What? What happened? Lu Ming's face changed. It's like this. Immediately, Qiao Xian told him what she had learned. It turned out that Kong Jin had been cultivating with Ruan Tingting after entering the 100 Supremes Mountain. Everyone knew what Kong Jin was thinking. However, no one had expected that Ruan Tingting had obtained a great opportunity. She had obtained the inheritance of a peerless expert from a seal. That inheritance was a deity-level cultivation technique. This time, many people were shocked. The geniuses of the Luan family were nearby. They immediately forced Ruan Tingting to hand over the deity-level cultivation technique. Ruan Tingting refused, so the Luan family took action. This time, the genius from the Luan clan was defeated by Kong Jin at the beginning. However, the Luan clan sent out even more people. Kong Jin wasn't a match for them. He fled with Ruan Tingting. Now, they were trapped in a cave. Tingting and Fatty didn't send us any news. They must be afraid of getting us involved. I only heard about it because this matter was getting out of hand. Now, Fatty and the others are in danger, so I thought of you. Xiao Xian said. Damn the Luan family. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. The Luan family and the Wang family were jackals of the same tribe. They thought they were superior and could take other people's things as they wished. Lu Ming, I also heard that Tingting's inheritance is deep in her soul. Once it is leaked, her soul will explode and she will die. Xiao Xian said anxiously. Do you know where they are trapped? Bring me there. Lu Ming's eyes flickered with a cold light. They are at a place marked by a seal. It's quite far from here. Let's go. Lu Ming and Xiao Xian immediately flew into the sky and disappeared. Huff, huff, huff. Kong Jin panted heavily. His entire body was covered in blood. It was all his own blood. He held his battle axe and blocked the entrance of a cave. Rwantingting was inside the cave. Chapter 790. It was also because of this cave that Kong Jin was able to fend off the Luan family's attack. This time, the Luan family had sent out 3 geniuses. Out of the 3 geniuses, 2 of them were ranked in the top 500. One of them was ranked 420, and his combat strength was extremely strong. In addition, there were 8 young experts in the 5th level of the spiritual sea realm. Although Fatty had successfully broken through to the 2nd level of the spiritual sea realm, he was still no match for them. If it weren't for the fact that the cave was narrow and could only allow one person to attack at a time, Fatty wouldn't have been able to fend them off. He had been fending them off for 2 days and 2 nights. The Luan family had taken turns attacking him, and his injuries were getting worse. However, he couldn't fall. He couldn't fall for Tingting. Outside the cave, the geniuses of the Luan family surrounded the cave with cold gazes. Lu Ming had seen one of them before. It was Luan Xiongfei, ranked 432 on the list of top 1,000 talents. The other one was Luan Tianhao, ranked 420. Fatty, I advise you not to put up any unnecessary resistance. Otherwise, you'll suffer. Luan Xiongfei said coldly. I've already said that when I receive the inheritance, there was a restriction in it. Once I do, my soul will explode. Even if you want it, I can't give it to you. Rwantingting's voice came from the cave. Hee, of course we know that. However, as long as you follow us back to the Luan family, we'll naturally have a way to extract the inheritance from your soul. Luan Xiongfei sneered. Do you think I'm an idiot? If you extract the inheritance from your soul, you'll lose your soul if you're not careful. No matter how lucky you are, you'll end up as a retard. Kong Jin shouted angrily. Hee, that'll depend on her luck? Luan Xiongfei sneered. How precious is a divine-level cultivation technique? How can you control it? Just follow us back to the Luan family obediently. Luan Tianhao said coldly. Don't even think about it. Come and fight me if you dare. I'll chop you in half with my axe. Kong Jin roared like an injured beast. His ferocious aura permeated the air. Not far from the cave, many people were watching. However, no one stepped forward to say a word. What a joke. Who would dare to interfere in the matters of one of the ancient aristocratic families, the Luan family? Being targeted by an ancient aristocratic family, one could only admit that they were unlucky. You're courting death. Chaotic Flight's killing intent exploded. This damn fatty was even more difficult to deal with than they had imagined. He had actually blocked the entrance of the cave. It had already been 2 days. They had taken turns to attack, but they still couldn't break through the fatty's defense. If not for the fact that they were in a cave, the fatty would not have been able to withstand more than a few of their blows given his injuries. Fatty, forget it. Just hand me over to them. Rwantingting's eyes welled up with tears as she looked at the fatty's body that was covered in blood. She didn't want to go to the Luan clan. She couldn't accept it. She hadn't avenged her parents yet, but the ancient families were too powerful. What could she do? Don't say anymore. That's impossible unless I die. Kong Jin's tone was resolute. Rwantingting sighed. At this moment, she really hated her own incompetence. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Luan Xiongfei strode forward and rushed into the cave. Come. The fatty grinned. His eyes were fierce as he raised his battle axe and started to fight with Luan Xiongfei. Boom, Boom. Terrifying energy shot out in all directions, but there was a mark on the walls of the cave. All the energy that shot out was like a stone sinking into the ocean. The two exchanged more than 100 blows before Luan Xiongfei retreated with a gloomy expression. This fatty's battle power was ridiculously strong. His endurance was also ridiculously high. Luan Xiongfei couldn't break through his heavily injured body. Ha ha ha, Luan Xiongfei, Luan Tianhao, you guys can't even deal with a heavily injured person. How about this? Leave this to the Jiang clan. At this moment, there was a loud laugh. More than 10 figures appeared in the air. Luan Tianhao's expression changed when he saw who it was. Jiang Taiyu, it's you? What is the Jiang clan doing here? Luan Tianhao, everyone has a share of the deity tier cultivation technique. Don't tell me your Luan clan wants to take it for yourself? Jiang Taiyu smiled faintly. You guys want the deity tier cultivation technique too? Our Luan clan found that chick first. Luan Tianhao said coldly. So what if you found her first? I gave you a few days, but you couldn't get it done. Who's to blame? Let the Jiang clan do it. Jiang Taiyu said with a smile. Luan Tianhao and Luan Xiongfei's expressions darkened. Jiang Taiyu was ranked 419th on the list of top 1,000 talents, one rank higher than Luan Tianhao. Moreover, there were 2 other supreme talents from the Jiang family, making a total of 3 supreme talents. They were no weaker than Luan Tianhao and Luan Tianhao. The 2 sides were at loggerheads. How about this? Let's take that chick back and let the elders of the 2 clans discuss it. What do you think? Luan Xiongfei said. Okay, I have no objections. Jiang Taiyu said. I have no objections either. Now, it's your turn to attack. As long as you get rid of that fatty, everything will be easy. Luan Tianhao nodded. They had reached an agreement. At the entrance of the cave, the fatty grinned. Inside the cave, Ruan Tingting's eyes were filled with despair. Her face was even paler. Evidently, she had also been injured earlier. Furthermore, her injuries were not light. Let me kill this fatty. Jiang Taiyu strode forward, his eyes flashing like lightning. Let's see who you can kill. Suddenly, a cold voice rang out, and a powerful force field descended with a loud rumble. Xian Yinqing was flying toward them. Shao Qing, leave now. The fatty's expression changed as he shouted. The Jiang clan and the Luan clan had 6 supreme talents and more than a dozen young experts at the 5th level of the spiritual sea realm. Xian Yinqing was definitely no match for them. Shut up. Mind your own business. Xian Yinqing scolded. Without stopping, he stepped forward. His body emitted a black light, and his black gauze dress fluttered, making Xian Yinqing look like a demoness. What a beautiful chick. I'll take her back and make her my concubine. Jiang Taiyu's eyes lit up. There was a hint of passion in his eyes. Bang! In the next moment, Jiang Taiyu moved. Like a peerless divine weapon, he broke through the sky demon force field and charged toward Xian Yinqing. Destruction cut, Xian Yinqing whispered. In the sky demon force field, the space was distorted, and a terrifying cutting power erupted. Jiang Taiyu's expression suddenly changed. His body emitted a black light, and he slashed forward like a divine weapon. Clang! Clang! Jiang Taiyu's arm collided with the destruction cut, making a sound of metal clashing and sparks flying. Interesting, but you want to stop me with such means? You're still far from it. Jiang Taiyu's eyes emitted a dim light. His body suddenly moved, as if he had turned into a sword. A slender assassination sword, a viper sword, swam in the sky demon force field. The sharp sound of the air breaking rang through the sky. Whoosh! Whoosh! The Jiang clan's immemorial mystical weapon technique was amazing. It could refine a person into a mystical weapon. Chapter 791. Heavenly Demon's Hand. Xian Yinqing pressed out with one hand again, and a beautiful arm was formed. It was like the arm of a supreme demon descending, pressing towards Jiang Taiyu. Apparently, Xian Yinqing's cultivation had also improved, reaching the 2nd level of the spiritual sea realm. This palm seemed to have locked onto Jiang Taiyu. Jiang Taiyu was in the heavenly demon power field and had nowhere to hide. Jiang Taiyu's face changed slightly, and his hand slashed out like a sword. Clang! Jiang Taishu's hand collided with Xian Yinqing's heavenly demon's hand. Xian Yinqing's heavenly demon's hand was defeated, but Jiang Taishu also retreated 3 steps. So strong? Everyone's eyes were wide open. Jiang Taiyu was ranked 419th on the list of top 1,000 talents, and his cultivation had reached the limit of the 3rd level of the spiritual sea realm. Now, he was defeated by Xian Yinqing, who was only at the 2nd level of the spiritual sea realm. Good, very good. Girl, you've successfully angered me. Jiang Taishu's eyes were cold, and the black light on his body became stronger. A sharp chi spread out, piercing the space. At the same time, a black iron sword floated above his head. The iron sword was slender, like a poisonous snake. 9 silver chakras shone brightly. This was Jiang Taiyu's bloodline. Back then, Jiang Taishu's bloodline was a mountain full of weapons. But Jiang Taiyu's bloodline was different. It was only a sword, but it was purer. An incomparably sharp sword in tint emanated from Jiang Taiyu's body. It was a vast sword might. Sword essence, that's the sword essence. Someone exclaimed. The sword essence was also an evolved essence. It evolved from the metal essence. Those who awakened the bloodline of weapons, such as swords and sabers, could easily comprehend the metal essence. But the metal essence could evolve into the sword essence, saber essence, spear essence, and so on. For example, the sword essence, combined with the sword-type bloodline and the corresponding sword skill, was extremely powerful. Kill! Jiang Taiyu yelled, and his arm slashed out like a sword. The sharp sword chi slashed forward as if it could cut through all obstacles. The sky demon force field was torn apart in an instant. Demonic lotus! At this time, Xian Yinqing frowned slightly and pressed his hands again. This time, a lotus throne appeared in the air. The lotus throne was black, and a black petal flew out. It was extremely sharp and fought against Jiang Taiyu's sword chi. Clang! A sharp sound was emitted, and the two canceled each other out. Jiang Taiyu's face darkened as he launched a frenzied attack. However, Xian Yinqing was also extremely powerful. For a moment, it was hard to tell who had the upper hand. The others' expressions were grave. Xian Yinqing was too strong, only in the 2nd layer of the spiritual ocean tier. If she broke through to the 3rd layer of the spiritual ocean tier, what would happen? Wouldn't he be able to suppress Jiang Taiyu with a flip of his hand? In the blink of an eye, Xian Yinqing and Jiang Taiyu had exchanged dozens of blows. The two of them were evenly matched. Clang! With another strike, both of them retreated. Let's end this quickly. Why don't we join forces and take down this woman? Luan Tianhao said. Good. Let's attack together. Jiang Taiyu nodded solemnly. Xian Yinqing's battle prowess was beyond his expectations. At this time, Xian Yinqing controlled the Sky Demon force field. She was unbelievably fast in the Sky Demon force field. In an instant, she appeared at the entrance of the cave. Fatty, you heal first. I'll hold them off here. Xian Yinqing said. No, you alone are no match for so many of them. They'll take turns to attack. You can't hold them off. You'd better break out alone. Kong Jin said. Shut up. Xian Yinqing said coldly, but had no intention of leaving. Kong Jin was speechless. Then he said, Why don't you send a message to Lu Ming and ask him to come over? With the 3 of us, we should be able to break out. Okay, I'll send a message to him. Xian Yinqing nodded, took out a message jade talisman, and sent a message to Lu Ming. Kill. At this time, Jiang Taishu continued to attack Xian Yinqing. With Xian Yinqing blocking the entrance of the cave, only one of them could attack. While the battle was going on, Lu Ming also received Xian Yinqing's message on the way. He was even more anxious, and his eyes flashed with murderous intent. Miss Chiao, it's very dangerous over there. Don't go. I'll go save Fatty and the others first. After saying that, Lu Ming stepped forward, and his speed skyrocketed. At this time, in Wang Haoyan's courtyard, Wang Kong was standing beside Wang Haoyan, reporting the news. Did he really say that? Wang Haoyan's eyes were filled with murderous intent. That's right. Lu Ming is unruly and lawless. He doesn't take you seriously at all, Brother Haoyan. Wang Kong said. Hee, unruly? That's because he hasn't met anyone who can tame him. I'll make him bow down to me. Wang Kong, Bring that trash with the surname Jian and follow me to 100 Supremes Mountain. I'd like to see how unruly he can be in front of me. Wang Haoyan said, and a cold, murderous intent spread out. Okay, I heard that trash with the surname Jian is Lu Ming's good friend. He actually dares to meet a woman of my Wang family. What a pervert. Wang Kong sneered and walked out of the courtyard. Soon, Wang Haoyan and Wang Kong brought a person with them and rushed towards 100 Supremes Mountain. Boom, boom. At the entrance of the cave, the battle had been going on for 3 hours. The 6 geniuses of the Jiang family and the Luan family took turns to attack Xian Yanqing. No matter how strong Xian Yanqing's true essence was, he could barely hold on. He was sweating profusely and panting heavily. Bitch, let's see how long you can last. It was Jiang Taiyu attacking Xian Yanqing again. The storm-like attacks made Xian Yanqing's heavenly demon force field tremble violently. It seemed like it would be difficult to maintain it. Boom, boom. The two exchanged dozens of blows. Xian Yanqing's breathing became heavier. Bitch, I'll cripple your cultivation and bring you back to the Jiang family. I'll serve you well. Jiang Taiyu's expression became colder, but the evil fire in his eyes burned brighter. The stronger Xian Yanqing was, the more his desire to possess her was aroused. You won't have that chance. At this moment, an extremely cold voice came from afar. In the distant sky, a spear light pierced through the void, bringing with it a terrifying sonic boom as it stabbed towards Jiang Taiyu. Jiang Taiyu's expression changed. His palm was like a divine sword as he struck out. Clang! His palm collided with the spear light. Jiang Taiyu's expression changed drastically. His body trembled as he frantically retreated. Whoosh! A figure appeared in the void, holding a long spear. His body emitted a bone-chilling, murderous intent. Lu Ming had arrived. Lu Ming, you're finally here. Xian Yanqing said softly. Little Qing, are you all right? Lu Ming turned his head and looked at Xian Yanqing. I'm fine. Xian Yanqing shook his head. Haha, Lu Ming, you're here. Your cultivation has improved greatly. Great, let's charge out together. The fatty laughed heartily. Fatty, looks like you won't die yet. Chapter 792. My skin is thick, and I can take a beating. Kong Jin grinned. With Lu Ming here, the 3 of them and Wantingting would be enough to charge out. Lu Ming's eyes swept across Jiang Taiyu and the others. He really wanted to fight with all his might and kill these people. But he also knew that it was more important to bring Wan Tingting out first. There would be plenty of opportunities to kill Jiang Taiyu, Wan Xiongfei, and the others. Kid, you're Lu Ming? Jiang Taiyu's eyes were cold and sharp. Jiang Taishu, the genius of the Jiang clan, had been killed by Lu Ming in the Heavenly King ranking battle. This news had already spread among the younger generation of the Jiang clan. Jiang Taishu was not an ordinary genius. He had fought his way into the 10 heavenly kings in the King realm, but he had suppressed it. He could enter the Sea of Soul realm at any time. Once he entered the Sea of Soul realm, his cultivation would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. He might even awaken the divine bloodline and enter the ranks of the god-grade geniuses. However, he was too ambitious and had been suppressing his cultivation, wanting to take first place on the Heavenly King ranking to increase his foundation. But he had been killed by Lu Ming. The upper echelons of the Jiang clan were furious. Many of the younger generation of the Jiang clan wanted to kill Lu Ming to restore their reputation. That's right, Lu Ming replied coldly. Good, I was just about to look for you. Since you've delivered yourself to me, I'll send you on your way. Jiang Taiyu's voice sounded faintly. In the next moment, his figure flashed and stabbed at Lu Ming like a shadow sword. He was extremely fast and came from a tricky angle. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. Without even looking, he swept out his spear. The dazzling spear light emitted a sharp whistle and filled the surroundings. Clang! Jiang Taiyu's figure appeared. His palm struck the spear shaft and bounced back. Then I'll kill you head-on. Jiang Taiyu strolled forward. His entire body was filled with sword intent. He was like a peerless divine sword. Swoosh! His palm struck down at Lu Ming. Lu Ming sneered and stepped forward. He also stretched out his palm and slashed at Jiang Taiyu's palm. At this moment, the eyes of the spectators flashed. Lu Ming was actually using his flesh and blood to fight Jiang Taiyu head-on. Was he not courting death? Everyone knew that the Jiang family cultivated the art of immemorial divine arms. Their physical bodies were like divine arms, indestructible and incomparably sharp. There was nothing they could not break. Even with a spirit weapon, he was unable to block it. Yet, Lu Ming was actually using his body of flesh and blood? At this moment, the members of the Jiang family sneered. They were looking forward to the scene of Lu Ming's palm being cut in half. Clang! Lu Ming's palm collided with Jiang Taiyu's palm. It was as though two spiritual weapons had collided. A sharp aura spread out in all directions. Kacha! Then, the sound of bones breaking could be heard. Jiang Taiyu's expression changed drastically. He let out a low roar like an injured wild beast. His body retreated wildly. Everyone's eyes involuntarily fell on Jiang Taiyu's body. To be precise, they were looking at his palm. His palm was bleeding profusely and was severely deformed. However, Lu Ming's palm was not injured at all. Everyone's eyes were filled with shock. In a head-on collision, Lu Ming actually had the upper hand and shattered the bones in Jiang Taiyu's palm. How was this possible? Jiang Taiyu was someone who cultivated the art of immemorial divine arms. No one was more shocked than the members of the Jiang family. They knew better than anyone else that Jiang Taiyu's art of immemorial divine arms was extremely profound. He had also comprehended sword intent. His palm strike was extremely sharp, but now, Lu Ming had shattered his bones with his flesh and blood. This was a huge blow to their confidence. How is this possible? How is this possible? Jiang Taiyu kept growling. His palm was covered in black light, and crackling sounds could be heard. It was rapidly recovering. Charge out, Lu Ming said to Xian Yinqing and the others. Charge. Xian Yinqing and Kong Jin rushed out of the cave with Wan Tingting. Kill. Lu Ming charged toward Jiang Taiyu. Attack together. Jiang Taiyu let out a long roar. Instantly, another Jiang family's prodigy pounced on Lu Ming. This prodigy was also ranked in the top 500 and was extremely powerful. Luan Tianhao, Luan Xiongfei, and the others charged toward Xian Yinqing and Kong Jin. Lu Ming's aura was wild. He activated the heaven-suppressing hell skill and the true dragon of battle arts and launched a frenzied attack. The members of the Jiang family were like divine weapons. Their limbs were lethal weapons. When facing them, others could only keep a distance. Otherwise, it would be very dangerous. However, Lu Ming cultivated the heaven-suppressing hell skill. His limbs were like heavenly monuments that suppressed everything. He was also good at close combat. Bam! Bam! Lu Ming struck out with his palm and kicked out with his leg. His momentum was astonishing. He fought with the two Jiang family geniuses. Rumbling sounds continued. For a moment, he actually suppressed the two Jiang family geniuses. This was shocking. In the past few days, Lu Ming's cultivation and physique had improved. Naturally, his combat strength had also increased. If it was a few days ago, he would not have been able to reach this step. The onlookers in the distance were shocked. Charge out from here. Lu Ming roared. His true yuan surged, and his attacks became more and more violent. Haha, amazing. Watch me. I'll smash you. Dandan stood on Lu Ming's shoulder and laughed. Then, it suddenly jumped out, retracted its limbs into its turtle shell, and smashed toward Jiang Taiyu's face. During this period, Dandan had swallowed a lot of spiritual herbs. It had recovered a little, and its aura was stronger. Jiang Taiyu was suddenly attacked by Dandan. He was careless and was smashed in the face by Dandan. Clang! Dandan was bounced back. It shouted, Nest, you're so thick-skinned. I can't hit you. Jiang Taiyu's body was as tough as a divine weapon, but he was still a little dizzy after being smashed by Dandan. Lu Ming seized the opportunity and kicked Jiang Taiyu, causing him to spit out blood and retreat. They were about to break out of the encirclement. At this moment, a terrifying howl sounded. An extremely sharp aura and cold-killing intent enveloped Lu Ming. Danger. Extreme danger. Lu Ming felt goosebumps all over his body. In the distance, an arrow like a stream of light shot toward Lu Ming's back. Fast, too fast. Kill. The other prodigy of the Jiang family launched a frenzied attack on Lu Ming. He wanted to stall Lu Ming. Oh no! Lu Ming sensed that the person who shot this arrow was extremely powerful. He was definitely much stronger than Jiang Taiyu and the rest. He did not expect that such a powerful person would launch a sneak attack on them. He had gone all out to deal with Jiang Taiyu and the other man. It was too late for him to dodge. Lu Ming, watch out! Xian Yinqing exclaimed. She was shrouded in the heavenly demon force field. In the force field, her speed was as fast as lightning. In a flash, Xian Yinqing's figure appeared in front of Lu Ming. At this moment, the arrow had already arrived. Xian Yinqing did not even have time to launch a powerful attack. She could only use the power of destruction to rush toward the arrow. Chapter 793. Puff! The arrow pierced through Xian Yinqing's left shoulder, leaving a bloody hole. The powerful inertia caused Xian Yinqing to fly backward. Shao Qing! Lu Ming roared. He pushed back the Jiang family's prodigy and grabbed Xian Yinqing's slender waist. They landed beside the cave. Fatty! Retreat! Lu Ming roared. Kong Jin didn't run far with Wan Tingting, but at this moment, he roared and rushed back. Shao Qing, how are you? Lu Ming held Xian Yinqing in his arms and kept injecting his genuine core force to seal Xian Yinqing's wound and stop the blood from flowing out. Fortunately, my vital parts were not hit. I won't die, Xian Yinqing said with a pale face. Now, let's see where you can run to. Jiang Taiyu's face was cold as he stepped forward. Luan Tianhao and the rest also came over and surrounded Lu Ming and the rest. But Lu Ming did not even look at them. His eyes were looking in another direction. A young man in a black iron battle suit with a cold gaze walked over. He exuded a terrifying aura and a strong fighting spirit. Chaotic wind and clouds. It's chaotic wind and clouds. Someone exclaimed in shock. Lu Ming and the others are doomed. The Luan family sent chaotic wind and clouds. Chaotic wind and clouds, ranked 350 on the list of top 1,000 talents. The exclamations grew louder and louder. Lu Ming's pupils constricted. This was the person who had sneak attacked him. Fatty, take Tingting and Shao Qing back to the cave, Lu Ming said. Kong Jin's face was grave as he led Wan Tingting and Xian Yinqing into the cave. Xian Yinqing sat cross-legged and began to heal his wounds. Although the arrow had hit his vital parts, the will on it was extremely powerful. Xian Yinqing's injuries were not as light as they seemed. Luan Fengyun stepped forward and stood in the air. His indifferent voice rang out, Luan Tianhao, your speed is too slow. This matter has already reached the ears of the Empyrean Imperial Guards. The Empyrean Imperial Guards will soon send people here to bring that girl away. After all, she has obtained the inheritance of Reverend Blue Gold. Reverend Blue Gold was one of the commanders of the Empyrean Imperial Guards in the past. Luan Tianhao's face changed. What should we do? If the Imperial Sky Guards came, the Luan family would have nothing to do with the family. The Patriarch will think of a way to stall the Dtion Forbidden Guards for a day. That's why he sent me here to capture this girl and bring her back to the Luan clan, Luan Fengyun said. With that, he looked at Lu Ming and his lips curled into a cold smile. He said in a cold voice, get lost now and you can live. Otherwise, you will die. Wind and clouds, sooner or later, I will kill you. Lu Ming ignored chaotic wind and clouds' words. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. Chaotic wind and clouds almost killed Xian Yinqing. No matter who he was, Lu Ming would kill him. Haha, from the moment you said that, you no longer have a chance. I didn't want to make a move and only wanted to take the girl away. Today, I have no choice but to kill you. Chaotic wind and clouds said coldly. He stood in the void, high and mighty. The battle intent on his body was even thicker. The Luan family cultivated the 100 battle technique, a god-tier cultivation technique. They were naturally warlike people. Of course, their battle power was also extremely strong. Boom! Chaotic wind and clouds' aura suddenly exploded. His true energy boiled, making a sound like a tsunami. His aura was like a mountain, pressing down on Lu Ming. The peak of the 4th level of the spiritual sea realm was chaotic wind and clouds' cultivation. The peak of the fourth level of the spiritual sea realm was 2 levels higher than Lu Ming. However, Chaotic Wind and Clouds was not an ordinary martial artist. He was a quasi-god tier genius. Lu Ming's true energy was running at full force. There was a faint blue light shining between his eyebrows. Haha, I didn't expect it to be so lively here. Count me in. A loud laugh came from afar. As soon as the voice fell, a blazing aura covered the sky and earth. 2 streaks of flames, dragging long tails, passed through the void and approached in an instant. 2 youthful figures emerged from the void. Wang Haoyin. Chaotic Wind and Clouds' eyes flashed. At this moment, there were cries of surprise from all around. The genius of the Wang family had also arrived. He was also a quasi-god tier genius. Brother Chaotic Wind, the inheritance of venerable blue gold has appeared. It's not nice of your Luan family to monopolize it. Wang Haoyin laughed. Do I have to inform the Wang family? Chaotic Wind and Clouds said with a sullen face. Wang Haoyin's ranking on the list of top 1,000 talents was only a few places lower than his. His battle power was not inferior to his. It would not be so easy for him to monopolize the god-tier cultivation technique today. It's fine if you don't tell me. We'll have to rely on our own abilities. Wang Haoyin laughed. Lu Ming swept his gaze across Wang Haoyin and directly skipped over him, landing on a person behind Wang Haoyin. Wang Kong. Wang Kong was holding a person in his hand. His face was pale and his breath was weak. Qinfei Ryu. The person in Wang Kong's hand was actually Qinfei Ryu. Brother Jian, what did you do to him? Lu Ming's eyes were like 2 sharp swords, piercing Wang Kong and Wang Haoyin. Are you talking about this useless piece of trash? Wang Haoyin smiled faintly. He looked at Jian Filiu with disdain and said, This brat is so lustful. He actually dared to have an affair with a woman from my Wang clan. Therefore, I crippled him. Lu Ming's face suddenly changed. No wonder Qinfei Ryu was so weak. It was obviously because his cultivation had been crippled. Damn it! Lu Ming growled. After this period of time, Lu Ming had already considered Qinfei Ryu a true friend. Now, Qinfei Ryu's cultivation had been crippled by Wang Haoyin. Lu Ming, don't worry about me. I'm a piece of trash. I couldn't even save my junior sister. They killed her. You are beasts. All of you are beasts. Junior sister is a married woman, and you still want to reward her to someone else? Beasts. Qinfei Ryu's eyes were red as he growled. Humph, Wang Meng is already dead. Our Wang family doesn't raise people for nothing. Naturally, we have to make the best use of them. Wang Kong said faintly, as if he was talking about something very normal. Lu Ming more or less understood what was going on. Wang Meng was dead, so the Wang family wanted to give Qinfei Ryu's junior sister to other Wang family disciples to play with. Qinfei Ryu's junior sister probably sent a message to Qinfei Ryu for help. That was why Qinfei Ryu hurriedly left and came to Nine Dragon City. Naturally, he was discovered later. Jian Filiu was right. The Wang family was a bunch of beasts. Beasts? Lu Ming, I heard that you were good friends with this trash, so I brought him here. Hee, looks like you came at the right time. Wang Haoyin laughed. What do you want? Lu Ming asked. Simple. Hand over the token you obtained from the 100 Masters Tower. Then hand over the girl who obtained Venerate Blue Gold's inheritance. Then, I'll give you this trash. Wang Haoyin said with a faint smile on his face. He has the token from the 100 Masters Tower? At the side, Luan Fingyun's eyes flashed with greed. He also needed the 100 Masters Towers token. I'll use the token to exchange with you, but it's impossible to hand over Tingting. Lu Ming arrived. If he handed over Wan Tingting, they would definitely strip her soul and turn her into an idiot. Chapter 794. A single token? No. I will make this friend of yours live a life worse than death. A cold light flashed in Wang Haoyin's eyes. Lu Ming, don't bother about me. Junior sister is dead, and my cultivation has been destroyed. I'm already a cripple. Don't bother about me. Qinfei Ryu shouted. Shut up. Wang Kong grabbed Qinfei Ryu's shoulder with his claw. A cracking sound was heard from Qinfei Ryu's shoulder as his bones were broken. However, Kinfei Ryu just gritted his teeth and didn't say a word. Damn it! These scumbags deserve to die. Kong Jin roared at the entrance of the cave. Kiki! Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly. A surge of anger rushed to his head, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Kong Jin was right. These people deserved to die. He couldn't wait to rush out and kill them. But now, he had to endure it. Behind him were the injured Xian Yinqing and Ruan Tingting. If he acted rashly, he would only send everyone to their deaths. When Luan Fengyun had just arrived, he had said that the Detian Imperial Guard would be here a day later. Perhaps, when the Detian Imperial Guard came, things would turn around. Luan Fengyun didn't transmit his voice just now. Perhaps he was too confident and thought that there was no need to hide anything. With him around, it wouldn't take a day to take Ruan Tingting away. However, Lu Ming had to find a way to stall for a day. Lu Ming, I'll ask you one more time. Are you going to exchange or not? Wang Haoyan said. Lu Ming clenched his fists, and his eyes were extremely cold. He said in a cold voice, Wang Haoyan, Wang Kong, if you dare to touch Kinfei Ryu again, I'll kill you. How dare you threaten me? Wang Haoyan's face turned cold. He suddenly turned around and pointed his finger. A blast of energy shot out and pierced a big hole in Kinfei Ryu's shoulder. Blood dyed Kinfei Ryu's clothes red. Boom. Lu Ming's body erupted with a berserk aura. His killing intent was ice cold. No one noticed that Lu Ming's footsteps were slowly moving. Every time he moved, an inscription would sink into the ground. You want to use me to threaten Lu Ming? Dream on. At this moment, Kinfei Ryu suddenly roared. A faint red glow emanated from his spine. Not good. Wang Kong's expression changed. No. Lu Ming roared. Bang. At this moment, Kinfei Ryu's spine suddenly exploded and blood splattered everywhere. Kinfei Ryu had used some kind of secret technique to detonate his own bloodline power. This move was beyond Wang Haoyan and Wang Kong's expectations. The self-destruction of one's bloodline power was equivalent to cutting off one's life. Kinfei Ryu vomited blood. He looked at Lu Ming and said, Brother Lu, it's my honor to be your friend. However, my junior sister is dead and my cultivation has been destroyed. It's meaningless for me to stay in this world. It's a pity that I won't be able to see the day when Brother Lu rules the world. As he spoke, Kinfei Ryu's life force became weaker and weaker. His eyes slowly closed. Then, his life force was extinguished. Kinfei Ryu, the proud genius who once dominated Jinsha Island and used the alias King of Hell, who competed with Lu Ming, had died. Although he had not known Lu Ming for long, Kinfei Ryu was a sincere person. Lu Ming had already treated him as a good friend. Now, in order to not threaten Lu Ming, he had detonated his own bloodline and died. Lu Ming's aura surged violently. His murderous intent seemed to have solidified. Brother Jin, don't worry. I'll make sure Wang Haoyan and Wang Kong accompany you in hell. I'll make sure the rest of the Wang family die sooner or later. His cold and emotionless eyes stared at Wang Haoyan and Wang Kong. For some reason, Wang Haoyan and Wang Kong felt a chill in their hearts when they saw Lu Ming's eyes. It was as if they were being stared at by the Grim Reaper. Trash. Wang Kong took a deep breath and threw Kinfei Ryu's body on the ground. Hee, Wang Haoyan. It seems like you've lost your bargaining chip. How about this? Let's kill these guys together and take that girl. Luan Fengyun sneered. I alone am enough to kill them. Wang Haoyan said coldly. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. Boom. Then, he took a step forward. Today, he must kill Lu Ming. He had a bad feeling in his heart. If Lu Ming didn't die, he would die in Lu Ming's hands sooner or later. It was a terrible feeling. Purple flames burst out from Wang Haoyan's body. Terrifying heat burst out, and the air within a radius of dozens of meters was instantly burned clean, creating a vacuum zone. A spear condensed from flames appeared in Wang Haoyan's hand. It turned into a ray of light and pierced towards Lu Ming. The blazing flames were still 10 meters away from Lu Ming, but it seemed like they were going to set Lu Ming's clothes and hair on fire. Kill. Lu Ming took a step forward. His true essence erupted. At the same time, for different wills surrounded Lu Ming as he struck out with his palm. Dong. The blazing flames spread in all directions. The ground rumbled and cracked. Lu Ming's figure retreated continuously. Every time he took a step back, inscriptions would flash and disappear into the ground when his feet stepped on the ground. Lu Ming exhaled heavily, suppressing the surging qi and blood in his body. He felt a sharp pain in his palm. His palm was a little black. It was burned by the blazing flames. Wang Haoyan's battle strength was terrifying. Wang Haoyan was also at the peak of the 4th level of the spiritual sea realm. He had cultivated the sky-burning flames incantation to a very deep level. Shio. Wang Haoyan knocked Lu Ming back with one strike. He waved his flaming spear and continued to attack Lu Ming. Pong, pong. Lu Ming stepped on the ground and quickly moved to one side. You want to leave? It's not that easy. Die. Two suns appeared in Wang Haoyan's eyes as he continued to attack Lu Ming. Dong. Lu Ming struck out with his palm again, colliding with Wang Haoyan's. In the rumbling sound, he retreated a dozen steps, blood flowing out of the corner of his mouth. This Lu Ming has such strong battle strength. He took 2 of Wang Haoyan's attacks in a row. Around them, many people were shocked. Wang Haoyan, a quasi-god realm genius, had extremely strong battle strength. Those with higher cultivation than him would be killed by him in a second. But now, Lu Ming's cultivation was 2 levels lower than his, but he could take a few of his attacks without dying. It was terrifying. On the side, Wan Fengyun's eyes flashed. She was also very surprised. Wang Haoyan himself was also shocked. This person must die. Otherwise, I may be the one who dies in the future. Wang Haoyan roared in his heart. His killing intent grew stronger. Flames appeared above his head, and his bloodline erupted. The flaming spear turned into a terrifying killing weapon, burning the void and attacking Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Buzz. Inscriptions shone on his body. There were inscription formations that could explode true origin, inscription formations that could increase speed, and inscription formations that could increase defense. In an instant, Lu Ming had carved 8 inscription formations for himself. Inscription Master. Wang Haoyan's eyes were filled with shock. Kill. Lu Ming shouted and stepped out. Chapter 795. As the inscription formation emerged, 2 swords were condensed and slashed at Wang Haoyan. At the same time, Lu Ming also pounced on Wang Haoyan. His left palm burst out with a terrifying devouring power, enveloping Wang Haoyan, while his right palm pushed out the suppressing hell skill. With the support of 8 inscription formations, Lu Ming's combat strength increased greatly. Wang Haoyan's eyes were filled with shock. With a long roar, the spear light turned into a phantom, defeated the 2 swords, and then stabbed at Lu Ming. Dong. This time, the collision was even more shocking than the previous one. Wang Haoyan was forced to retreat in the midst of the violent energy. Yes, this time, Wang Haoyan was the one who retreated. The sound of people sucking in cold air could be heard from all around. Lu Ming actually repelled Wang Haoyan, which was incredible. Wang Haoyan took 6 steps back and stood firm. With a look of disbelief in his eyes, he roared, "When did you engrave the inscription formation?" He never expected that Lu Ming was not only extremely powerful in martial arts, but also in the way of inscription. Kill. What responded to him was Lu Ming's cold-killing intent. Lu Ming continued to step forward. The inscriptions on the ground appeared, condensing into swords and slashing at Wang Haoyan. At the same time, he also charged at Wang Haoyan. Wang Haoyan roared and almost turned into a man of fire. His spear moved and collided with Lu Ming again and again. But the result was that Wang Haoyan kept retreating. Lu Ming had added 8 formations to himself, and at the same time, he had completely suppressed Wang Haoyan with the combination of the inscription formation and the devouring power of the 9 dragons' bloodline. Not far away, Wan Fengyun's face was extremely ugly. Just now, he was still high and mighty, thinking that he could suppress Lu Ming at any time and take Wan Tingting away. Now, the facts told him that he was terribly wrong. Wang Haoyan's combat strength was definitely not weaker than his. If Wang Haoyan was suppressed, did it mean that he would be suppressed too? It was hard for him to accept. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming stepped on the ground, and the formation emerged, condensing 8 swords and slashing at Wang Haoyan. At the same time, he attacked Wang Haoyan with all his might. Wang Haoyan was suddenly in danger. Wang Haoyan let out a long roar as his spear pierced through the sky. He turned into a beam of light and soared into the sky, breaking through the attack of the inscription formation. Wang Haoyan was defeated. He rushed into the air to avoid Lu Ming's attack. Lu Ming was still unable to inscribe inscription formations in the void. Damn it! The murderous intent in Wang Haoyan's eyes burst forth. He wanted nothing more than to grind Lu Ming's bones to dust. He had actually been forced back by Lu Ming and could only flee for his life. Under the watchful eyes of so many people, this was simply a great humiliation. Most importantly, Lu Ming's martial cultivation was 2 levels lower than his. Wang Haoyan rushed into the sky, but Lu Ming did not have the slightest intention to stop. He suddenly changed his direction and took a few steps. Inscriptions appeared and condensed into a long spear, stabbing at Wang Kong like lightning. At the same time, Lu Ming took a step forward and instantly appeared in front of Wang Kong, striking out with his palm. Wang Kong turned pale with fright. This process happened too quickly. Wang Haoyan fled, and Lu Ming took the opportunity to change direction and attack him. It happened almost instantaneously, and he did not expect it at all. He roared in horror and burst out with all his strength to resist. Bang! The long spear condensed by the formation was sent flying by Wang Kong, but in the next moment, Lu Ming arrived. A terrible devouring power shrouded Wang Kong, blocking his bloodline power and weakening his combat strength. At the same time, Lu Ming's palm struck toward him. Bang! All of Wang Kong's defenses were shattered under Lu Ming's palm. Lu Ming's palm struck Wang Kong's chest heavily. Wang Kong's eyes instantly popped out, and there was disbelief and unwillingness in his eyes. No! A shrill scream came out of Wang Kong's mouth, and in the next moment, his body was torn apart. Lu Ming took another step, and his true ether wrapped around Qinfei Rue's body. In a flash, he appeared at the edge of the cave. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. It was too fast. Wang Haoyan fled and rushed into the sky. Lu Ming changed his direction and attacked Wang Kong, taking Qinfei Ryu and appearing at the entrance of the cave. All of this happened in 1 or 2 breaths. Many people did not even have time to react. When Lu Ming appeared at the entrance of the cave, everyone then came to their senses and gasped one after another. Wang Kong was killed. He was killed in an instant. Was this Lu Ming's combat strength? It was too terrifying when he used all of his combat strength. A genius like Wang Kong could not resist at all. This kid is not completely dead yet. Dandan, who was on Lu Ming's shoulder, suddenly said. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat, and his eyes lit up. He said, Dandan, what do you mean? What do you mean by not completely dead yet? This kid seems to be dead on the surface, but in fact, he still has a glimmer of life. His cultivation was destroyed, and he used a method to self-destruct the power of his bloodline. But after all, without cultivation, it is difficult for him to fully control the power of his bloodline. So, there is still a glimmer of life. As long as his bloodline power is restored, this kid may be resurrected. Dandan explained. Really? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Yes, now I'll inscribe an inscription formation to lock this kid's glimmer of life. The rest is up to you. After saying that, Dandan flew into the cave with Qinfei Ryu and began to inscribe the formation. He talked to Dandan through voice transmission, and no one else heard it. Damn it, Lu Ming. How dare you kill the genius of the Wang family? You're dead meat. Wang Haoyan roared in the sky. Come down and fight me if you dare. Lu Ming glanced at Wang Haoyan with contempt. You. Wang Haoyan's face turned pale, and then it turned pale. He didn't dare to go down. Wang Haoyan, let's work together. It's more important to get the inheritance of Supremacy Longjing. In less than a day, the Dtian Imperial Guards will be here. Luan Fengyun said. Okay, let's work together. Wang Haoyan nodded. Everyone, let's attack together and kill this man. Luan Fengyun waved his hand. Let's attack together. Zhang Taiyu also roared. At this moment, Lu Ming waved his hands rapidly, and countless inscriptions sank into the ground. Attack! Don't give him time to inscribe the inscription formation. Wang Haoyan roared and took the lead to attack Lu Ming. At the same time, Wan Fengyan also moved. A big bow appeared in his hand, and an arrow was shot at Lu Ming. The arrow was like a stream of light, piercing through the void and making a terrifying sonic boom. Bam! Bam! Lu Ming stomped his feet on the ground, and arrays appeared one after another. Some were offensive, and some were defensive. A few ancient shields appeared in front of Lu Ming, but they were easily pierced through. The arrow was aimed at Lu Ming's glabella. The infinite dragon spear appeared, and the spear collided with the arrow. Lu Ming felt his arm go numb, and he took 3 steps back. Luan Fengyun's arrow was too powerful. Chapter 796. After blocking Luan Fengyun's arrow, Lu Ming couldn't unleash his full power. This move could only tie with Wang Haoyan. Both of their bodies trembled as they took a step back. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this moment, Luan Fengyun's arrow arrived again. This time, it was a chain of arrows. 7 arrows were shot in a row. At the same time, Jiang Taiyu, Wan Tianhao, and the others also arrived. Jiang family, Wan family, and Wang Haoyan, a total of 8 geniuses, plus a dozen 5th-layer spiritual ocean realm experts, all attacked Lu Ming. Lu Ming, I'll help you. Kong Jin shouted. Fatty, guard the cave entrance. Don't come out. Lu Ming shouted. Now, the cave was full of injured people. If Fatty came out and was killed by the others, the consequences would be unimaginable. Fatty shouted. He was furious, but he also knew that he could only guard. At this moment, Lu Ming waved his hand, and a few giant creatures appeared in front of him. 2 giant snake puppets and a cheetah puppet. The 3 puppets were equivalent to the 5th layer of the spiritual ocean realm. When he was in the underground world, he annihilated the Een snake tribe and seized a large number of puppets. Lu Ming asked Qi Jinkong for some puppets in case he needed them. Now, he could finally use them. The 2 giant snake puppets rushed toward Jiang Taiyu and the others fearlessly. Puppets were invulnerable and had great strength. They were best used for defense. The cheetah puppet rushed into the sky and rushed toward the arrows shot by Luan Fengyun. Dong! Dong! A series of explosions sounded. The cheetah puppet, which was equivalent to the 4th layer of the spiritual ocean realm, was hit by 7 arrows and exploded. This was also the reason why Lu Ming's spirit fire was so huge. Normal inscribers had to use all their strength to control a puppet of the same level. However, Lu Ming was perfect at every stage. With 10 spirit lamps lit, how powerful was his spirit fire? Not only could he control puppets above his level, but he could also control several puppets at the same time. Bang! Lu Ming, on the other hand, unleashed his full strength and sent Wang Haoyan flying with a palm strike. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Lu Ming's hands once again danced wildly, and inscriptions sank into the ground. Kill! High up in the sky, Luan Fengyun shouted. His killing intent surged like a tide as arrows continuously shot down. Lu Ming waved his hand, and another puppet appeared. It flew into the air and exploded under the arrows. As for him, he seized the time to inscribe the inscriptions. On the other side, the 2 giant snake puppets exploded under the attacks of Jiang Taiyu and the others. However, with a wave of Lu Ming's hand, several more puppets appeared and rushed towards Jiang Taiyu and the others. At that moment, Wang Haoyan arrived. The more they fought, the more shocked Wang Haoyan became. His desire to kill Lu Ming grew stronger and stronger. Lu Ming had no choice but to stop inscribing inscriptions and fight Wang Haoyan. The genuine ether burst inscription he had inscribed on himself would not last long. If the effect of the inscription array wore off, he would be even more passive. Whoosh! Whoosh! In the sky, more arrows were shot down. This time, the arrows could actually turn, avoiding the puppets and shooting towards Lu Ming. You want to stop me with a mere puppet? Dream on. Luan Fengyun's eyes were like lightning. Lu Ming exerted all his strength, but the cooperation of Luan Fengyun and Wang Haoyan was too strong. Lu Ming was forced to retreat. What he feared most was Luan Fengyun's arrows. They were impossible to guard against, and their attack power was terrifying. They could kill people from 100 miles away. If Luan Fengyun was alone, he could naturally avoid them, close the distance between them, and defeat him. However, there was also Wang Haoyan. Lu Ming's current state, even with the help of the inscription array, could barely suppress Wang Haoyan. At this moment, he was in a passive position. "Lu Ming, I'll help you," Kong Jin shouted. Standing at the entrance of the cave, the battle axe in his hand flew out and danced in the air, helping Lu Ming block Luan Fengyun's arrows. Clang, clang. The battle axe blocked several of Luan Fengyun's arrows, and then flew back. Then, the fatty threw the battle axe out again, this time at Wang Haoyan. Wang Haoyan punched the battle axe back. Buzz. At this moment, a powerful force field enveloped an area with a radius of hundreds of meters. Xian Yinqing was also standing at the entrance of the cave, behind the fatty. Although Xian Yinqing's face was still a little pale, his injuries had basically stabilized. Destruction cut. In Xian Yinqing's Sky Demon force field, Luan Fengyun's arrows were greatly weakened, and it was much easier to defend against them. Zhang Taiyu and the others were also suppressed by the Sky Demon force field. Lu Ming's pressure was reduced a little. "Lu Ming, I'll help you too." Dandan flew out and stood on Lu Ming's shoulder. "Brother Jian, how is it?" Lu Ming asked. "I've temporarily locked his vitality with an inscription formation. It's up to you guys now," Dandan said. Then, Dandan retracted its limbs into its turtle shell and flew forward. An arrow hit Dandan's turtle shell, and sparks flew everywhere, but the arrow was also knocked off course by Dandan. Dandan flew back to Lu Ming's shoulder and shouted, "You want to shoot through my invincible defense? Little brat, you're still 1,000 miles away." Luan Fengyun's eyes were filled with murderous intent. She shot 9 consecutive arrows, one after another, forming a straight line. In an instant, they traversed thousands of meters in the air, pierced through the obstruction of the heavenly demon force field, and shot toward Lu Ming. "Watch me." Dandan flew out and blocked the arrows with its turtle shell. Clang. Dandan was sent flying, but the continuous stream of arrows were knocked off their course. With a scream, a young man in the 5th layer of the Spirit Sea realm of the Luan family was shot through by an arrow and died on the spot. "Haha," I said, "you're still far from breaking through my defense, little brat," Dandan shouted. Lu Ming exchanged a move with Wang Haoyan and continued to inscribe inscriptions. At this time, Zhang Taiyu and the others had already rushed over. Lu Ming had already lost more than a dozen powerful puppets. Now, Lu Ming no longer had any puppets in his hands. Bang! Bang! Lu Ming took a few steps, and formations appeared, forming sabers, giant swords, spears, and so on, attacking Zhang Taiyu and the others. And Lu Ming continued to inscribe formations. Just like this, Lu Ming, Fatty, Xian Yinqing, and Dandan worked together, fighting while inscribing inscriptions. It lasted for more than 10 minutes. "It's done." Lu Ming waved his hands, and as the last inscription sank into the ground, Lu Ming revealed a look of joy. Bang! As Lu Ming took a heavy step, dense inscriptions appeared on the ground. Then, a light curtain rose up, enveloping Lu Ming and the others. In the light curtain, endless sword chi condensed and attacked Zhang Taiyu and the others. Not good. This is a 6th level top killing formation. Zhang Taiyu and the others roared in horror and retreated frantically. Whoosh! Whoosh! In the formation, sword chi was rampant, and in an instant, several young men in the 5th layer of the Spirit Sea realm were killed. Zhang Taiyu, Luan Tianhao, and the others desperately rushed out of the range of the formation. In the sky, Luan Tianhao shot arrows continuously, but in the formation, they were defeated by the dense sword chi. Chapter 797. Of course, he had learned this formation from Liaosong. In fact, Lu Ming's formation was not the complete version of the Sword Roar Thunderclap formation. The complete version of the Sword Roaring Thunder formation was a top-level 6 formation. Warriors at the peak of the spiritual sea realm would definitely die if they stepped into it. Lu Ming had spent more than 10 minutes in the battle to set it up in a hurry. Of course, it was not that powerful, but it was enough to deal with Wang Haoyan and the others. Wang Haoyin, Jiang Taiyu, and the others tried their best to rush out of the formation, leaving behind 5 or 6 corpses. Damn it! Wang Haoyin roared. Today, not only did he not get the token he wanted, but he also left Wang Kong here. If the news got back to the Wang family, it would be a heavy blow to his prestige. His formation was set up in a hurry. Its power is limited. As long as we keep attacking, we will exhaust the energy of the formation. Then, we can go in. Luan Fengyun said with a gloomy face. Okay, we will take turns attacking, Wang Haoyin said. Immediately, they arranged for Luan Fengyun to attack first. Arrows streaked across the sky like meteors, shooting towards the grand formation below. However, Sword Chi whistled within the grand formation, blocking all the arrows. Shaoqing, Fatty, don't worry about your injuries. They won't be able to break in. Lu Ming sat cross-legged at the entrance of the cave and said, his spirit fire was so strong that it could continuously inscribe new inscriptions into the formation. Luan Fengyun and the others could not break it with their attacks. Xian Yinqing, Kong Jin, Ruan Tingting, and the others let out a long sigh. They relaxed and started to heal their injuries. Lu Ming looked at Qinfei Ryu in the cave with a trace of worry in his eyes. If Qinfei Ryu wanted to recover, he needed treasures that could replenish his bloodline power. He could only look for treasures that could replenish his bloodline power after everything here was over. Fortunately, it shouldn't be hard to find treasures that could replenish bloodline power. Back in the Burning Sun Empire, there were blood-refining crystals and blood-refining pills that could replenish bloodline power and strengthen the second bloodline awakening. Naturally, Nine Dragon City wouldn't lack such treasures. However, it was inconvenient to carry Qinfei Ryu around like this. I wonder if I can keep it in the Temple of Paragon? Lu Ming's heart stirred. A strand of true essence rolled out, and Qinfei Ryu's figure disappeared. As expected, Qinfei Ryu appeared in the Temple of Paragon. Great! Lu Ming was overjoyed. It must be because Qinfei Ryu's body was completely devoid of vitality that he was able to absorb it. Up in the sky, chaotic winds and clouds attacked continuously. After half an hour, it was Wang Haoyin's turn again. Just like that, time slowly passed. 1 hour, 2 hours, soon, a day had passed. Not only did Luan Fengyun and the others fail to break through the Sword Roar Thunderclap formation, they even exhausted themselves. Damn it! How can this be? How can his spiritual fire be so strong? Wang Haoyin roared. He was so frustrated that he was about to vomit blood. The others were also glaring at Lu Ming, who was sitting cross-legged at the entrance of the cave. Shaoqing, Fatty, how's your recovery? Lu Ming asked. I have fully recovered. I can fight a great battle now. The fatty grinned, revealing a ferocious expression. I'm almost recovered too. Xian Yinqing said. Then let's charge out. Lu Ming said. In terms of combat strength, they were no match for chaotic winds and clouds and Wang Haoyin. They could only charge out and raise their cultivation before killing them in the future. Whoosh! Whoosh! At this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air could be heard. It was extremely fast, and by the time everyone heard it, a dozen figures had already appeared in the sky. These people were all young, and they were all wearing armor and helmets. Their eyes were as sharp as knives. Standing at the front was a young man with a ferocious look in his eyes, like a wild beast. Long Qinli of the Imperial Sky Guard. Chaotic winds and clouds could not help but exclaim. The others, such as Wang Haoyin and Jiang Taiyu, also exclaimed. The spectators were even more shocked. They were not only shocked by the Imperial Sky Guard, but also the young man, Long Qinli. Long Qinli was ranked in the top 300 on the list of top 1,000 talents. He was a true god-level genius who had awakened the god-level bloodline. Chaotic winds and clouds, how dare you? Blue Gold Reverend was the commander of the Imperial Sky Guard and his successor. How dare you take it away? Long Qinli's eyes swept across chaotic winds and the others. Long Qinli, Blue Gold Reverend, has been dead for a long time. His legacy is already without an owner. Why can't we take it away? Chaotic winds and clouds said, now that I'm here, you can get lost. We're going to bring the successor of Blue Gold Reverend back to the Imperial Sky Guard and train him to be the true successor of Blue Gold Reverend. Long Chinli said coldly. He was not polite at all, and did not give chaotic winds and the others any face. The main forces of the Imperial Sky Divine Palace were divided into 3 groups. The first group was the Imperial Sky Guard, which was the direct subordinate of Martial Emperor De. They were extremely powerful. The second group was the 6 great ancient families. The third group was the Imperial Sky Guard's branch palaces. In fact, these 3 groups all obeyed Martial Emperor De and fought for him. However, they did not get along well with each other. Most of the people in the Imperial Sky Guard were not of noble birth. Few of them were disciples of the 6 great ancient families. Most of them were geniuses from small forces like Yin Kuangtu. They would constantly take in geniuses and train them to become the pillars of the Imperial Sky Guard. Back then, Supreme Nine Sons was one of the highest commanders of the Imperial Sky Guard. Now, Yin Kuangtu was also one of the highest commanders of the Imperial Sky Guard. Therefore, the geniuses of the Imperial Sky Guard did not get along well with the geniuses of the 6 great ancient families. Competition was a common occurrence. Chaotic winds and clouds' face darkened after being scolded by Long Chinli. Long Chinli, don't go too far. Chaotic winds and clouds said in a deep voice. Yes, I'm bullying you. What can you do about it? Do you want to have a fight with me? The ferocious look in Long Chinli's eyes grew stronger, as if he were a ferocious beast that was about to attack. Humph! Apart from me, Brother Wang Haoyin and the geniuses of the Jiang clan are here. We are not afraid of you. Chaotic winds and clouds said coldly as a powerful aura was emitted from her body. Wang Haoyin appeared beside chaotic winds and clouds. His aura was also emitted. Hee. It seems like you all are interested in witnessing the power of a god-ranked bloodline. Long Chinli's ferocious look grew stronger as a cold grin appeared on his face. Roar! Suddenly, the cry of a dragon echoed in the heavens and earth. A serpent dashed out from Long Chinli's body. The serpent was pitch black in color. Most shockingly, it had 3 heads. This was a legendary ferocious beast, the 3-headed demonic serpent. It was extremely powerful. It was said that the 3-headed demonic serpent could even compete with some of the weaker true dragons. One could imagine how terrifying it was. A golden chakra on the 3-headed demonic serpent's body attracted everyone's attention. A golden chakra was a god-ranked bloodline. Chapter 798. A 9th-grade king-class bloodline might seem to be only 1 grade away from a 1st-grade god-class bloodline, but in essence, they were worlds apart. There was no comparison at all. Those who had not awakened a divine bloodline would have limited achievements in the future. Only those who had awakened a divine bloodline could be considered a divine-level genius, and their future achievements would be limitless. The top 300 on the list of top 1,000 talents were all geniuses who had awakened a divine bloodline. Is this the power of a divine bloodline? There was a glint in Lu Ming's eyes, and he looked forward to it. At this moment, Long Chinli's body seemed to turn into a beam of light and rushed into his bloodline. Kill! The 3-headed demon snake opened its mouth, and its voice was exactly the same as Long Chinli's. The 3-headed demon snake seemed to have come alive and turned into a real 3-headed demon snake. Bloodline fusion. It was said that those who had awakened a divine bloodline could perform bloodline fusion. Their bodies would merge with their bloodline and turn into their bloodline form, erupting with terrifying combat strength. The 3-headed demon snake's huge claws slapped toward Chaos Fengyun and the others. Let's work together. Chaos Fengyun roared, his eyes filled with horror. A powerful aura erupted from his body as he knocked an arrow and instantly shot out 9 arrows in a line toward the 3-headed demon snake. At the same time, Wang Haoyin, Jiang Taiyu, and the others also attacked. Together, they attacked the 3-headed demon snake. Clang! First, the 9 arrows were swatted away by the 3-headed demon snake's claws. The huge claws continued to strike forward. Bang! Bang! Chaos Fengyun, Wang Haoyin, and the others all trembled violently and flew out like cannonballs, vomiting blood. In one move, Chaos Fengyun and the others were all injured, and they all looked at Long Chinli in horror. You want to fight me with just the likes of you? You're overestimating yourselves. The three-headed demon snake spoke in human language, and then quickly shrank. In the next moment, it turned back into Long Qianli's appearance and looked fiercely at Chaos Fengyun and the others. Crushing. It was a complete crushing. The onlookers were shocked. Is this the power of a divine bloodline? Bloodline fusion is indeed powerful. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. Long Qianli's cultivation should be in the 5th layer of the spiritual ocean tier. Although he was higher than Luan Fengyun and the others, it was very difficult for normal prodigies to achieve such a complete suppression. However, Long Qianli completely suppressed them, and no one knew how much power Long Qianli used just now. As one's cultivation increased, the power of the bloodline fusion would become even stronger. Do you still want to fight? Long Qianli glanced at Luan Fengyun and the others, causing their expressions to change greatly. Long Qianli, the god-level prodigies of our 3 families are not here today. Otherwise, we might not be afraid of you. Luan Fengyun said through gritted teeth. Nonsense. Now, scram. Long Qianli said. Long Qianli, you can take Reverend Lan Jin's successor, but the others belong to us. Wang Haoyan said. He still hadn't given up on Lu Ming's token. Long Qianli frowned as he swept Lu Ming and the others with his gaze, and then his gaze descended onto Wan Tingting in the end. He said, You're the inheritor of Exalt Blue Silver, right? Come with us. No. Lu Ming took a step forward and said in a clear voice, No? You want to stop me? Long Qianli's gaze turned cold. She's my friend. If you want to take her away and take away the inheritance from her soul, you'll have to go through me first. Lu Ming's gaze was extremely firm. Ha ha ha. Unexpectedly, Long Qianli suddenly laughed out loud and said, So that's what you're worried about. You don't have to. Do you think we're as disgusting as the 6 ancient families? We won't take away her inheritance when we take her back. Instead, we'll nurture her and let her grow stronger. Oh, how can I believe you? Lu Ming said, This is very simple. In history, this lady isn't the only one who has obtained the inheritance of an expert. Those who went to the Dtian Imperial Guard in the end were all nurtured. Some of them even reached the top of the Dtian Imperial Guard. No one has ever been robbed of their inheritance. Who doesn't know this? Long Qianli said. Lu Ming, I'll go with them. Ruan Tingting walked out of the cave and said, The Dtian Imperial Guard has indeed never robbed others of their inheritance. Ruan Tingting was very clear that her best option now was to go to the Dtian Imperial Guard. If she didn't go, the 6 ancient families wouldn't give up, and she would even implicate Lu Ming and the rest. Lu Ming and the rest were also very clear about this. Young Master Long, I can go with you, but I have a condition. Ruan Tingting said. What condition? Long Qianli asked. I want them to leave this place with me. After we leave the 100 Supremes Mountain, I'll let you go. Ruan Tingting pointed at Lu Ming and the rest. No, they have to stay. Wang Haoyan suddenly shouted, Is it your turn to speak? Long Qianli's eyes suddenly darkened. He glanced at Wang Haoyan, causing Wang Haoyan's face to turn pale. For the sake of your friends, all of you were willing to fight until the very end. You fought with all your might against powerful enemies. I admire true chosen and heroes like you the most. Even if you didn't say anything, I would have done the same. Very well. Long Qianli said loudly. Lu Ming, let's leave this place together. Ruan Tingting looked at Lu Ming, Xian Yinqing, and the rest. All right. Lu Ming nodded. Right now, it was better to leave this place and increase his cultivation. Immediately, Lu Ming waved his hand, and the sword roar thunderclap formation disappeared. Let's go. Long Qianli led the way, and Lu Ming and the rest followed Long Qianli and the rest as they flew out. Damn it! Wang Haoyan roared, his eyes flashing with cold, murderous intent. Inform the family. We can't let these people go easily. Luan Fengyun also said coldly. They sent the news to their families. Lu Ming and the rest quickly left the 100 Supremes Mountain and flew towards the west. The Wang family's dragon vein was at the easternmost side, and the Dtian Imperial Guard was at the center of 9 Dragon City. It was at least 10 million miles away from here. After flying for a few 100,000 miles, they stopped. Ting Ting, we won't send you off. Take care. Kong Jin said reluctantly. You guys too. When I'm done with my cultivation, I'll come back to look for you guys. Ruan Tingting said. Tingting, goodbye. Lu Ming and Xian Yinqing also bid farewell to Ruan Tingting. Lu Ming then cupped his fists at Long Qinli and said, Brother Long, Lu Ming has something to ask. Is there any place in Nine Dragon City that can replenish one's blood essence? Of course, the 10,000 blood pool is the most suitable place to replenish one's bloodline. That place is a high-grade cultivation sacred ground. You can accumulate bloodline power there, and it's very helpful for awakening your third bloodline. However, you need a token to enter. Long Qinli said. 10,000 blood pool. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Lu Ming, I'll give you this jade talisman. It records some of the cultivation sacred grounds in Nine Dragon City. There are ordinary ones and advanced ones. However, only those who are qualified can enter the advanced cultivation sacred grounds. You can take a look. Chapter 799. Lu Ming received it and said, Many thanks. You're welcome. Let's go. Long Qinli smiled and left with the Dtion Imperial Guard and Ruan Tingting. Fatty, stop looking. She's already gone far. Lu Ming patted Kong Jin's shoulder when he saw that Kong Jin was still staring in the direction Ruan Tingting left in. I didn't expect a fatty like you to be so loyal. Xian Yinqing's lips twitched. Of course. Don't you know who I am? A lamb leg appeared in Kong Jin's hand at some point, and he started to chew on it. Didn't you want me to introduce you to Little Qing's sister? Lu Ming whispered to Fatty. Fatty immediately straightened his body, and his eyes lit up. Of course, I have to introduce her. Tingting is Tingting, Little Qing's sister. That's her sister. It's different. Shameless. Both of you are shameless. Jackals of the same tribe. Xian Yinqing scolded and glared at Lu Ming. Fatty chuckled and continued to chew on the lamb leg. He asked, Lu Ming, where are we going now? We definitely can't go to the 100 Supremes Mountain. Let's go to the 10,000 blood pool first to save Brother Jian. Little Qing, Fatty, you guys didn't participate in the 100 Supremes Towers test, right? Lu Ming asked. 100 Supremes Tower? Xian Yinqing and the Fatty were both puzzled. After passing the 100 Supremes Towers test, you can obtain a token that leads to a higher cultivation ground. With your talent, passing the test shouldn't be a problem. Let's return to the 100 Supremes Mountain first. After you get the token, we'll go to the 10,000 blood pool together. Lu Ming said. The 10,000 blood pool could not only treat Qinfei Ryu, but it could also help them accumulate their bloodline power in preparation for awakening their third bloodline. Are we going back to the 100 Supremes Mountain in disguise? Xian Yinqing asked. Lu Ming nodded. Lu Ming, you guys should stop chatting. You guys are in danger. Dandan suddenly said. Their hearts skipped a beat. Dandan, what happened? Lu Ming asked. You've been targeted as soon as you left the 100 Supremes Mountain. I believe some experts will be here soon, Dandan said. Lu Ming frowned. Dandan's senses were very strong, so it shouldn't be wrong. Who was that? They targeted them as soon as they left the 100 Supremes Mountain. Could they be from the Wang clan or the Wang clan? Let's go, Lu Ming said. Then, they flew toward a vast mountain. Soon, they landed in a valley. Lu Ming began to inscribe inscriptions in the valley. Lines of inscriptions sank into the ground. A few minutes later, a light screen flashed and enveloped them. Afterward, Lu Ming engraved an array to restrain the aura of himself, Xian Yinqing, and the Fatty, completely concealing their auras. This is an illusion formation. They can't see us from the outside at all. They can only see a pile of rocks. I want to see who wants to kill us. Lu Ming said coldly. Not long after, a loud whistle sounded, and at least a dozen silhouettes flew over. These people were wearing black robes and looked quite old. They were definitely not young. They stopped in the air above the mountain valley and looked around. They should be coming here. What's going on? Why did their aura disappear? Chase them. This time, we can't let them get away. How dare they kill the geniuses of the Shangguan clan? They must die. Also, the elder instructed us to do it secretly. We can't let others know that we're the ones who did it. An old voice was heard. It was filled with cold killing intent. Then, the group split into several groups and chased in different directions. So they're from the Shangguan clan. Killing intent flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. After killing the young, the old came to kill them secretly. This was the style of the big aristocratic families. They were really despicable and shameless. Lu Ming, what are you going to do? Xian Yinqing looked at Lu Ming. Since they're coming, we'll kill them all at once. Anyway, I'm lacking spirit crystals. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. Haha, that's great. Kong Jin laughed. Then, Lu Ming began to inscribe inscription formations. At first, he inscribed a few illusion formations, covering the entire mountain valley. Then, he began to inscribe killing formations. This time, it took Lu Ming a day to inscribe 12 6th-grade formations in the mountain valley. Among them, the Sword Roar Thunder formation was the main one. With the strength of my spirit fire, I can't completely inscribe the Sword Roar Thunder formation. But those people from the Shangguan clan have the highest cultivation. They should be in the 7th layer of the spiritual sea realm. It's enough to kill them. Lu Ming had many thoughts in his mind. Let's ask them to come over now. Lu Ming smiled. Lu Ming removed the formation that concealed their aura and the illusion formation that shrouded them. Suddenly, the three of them were exposed in the mountain valley. Then, the three of them sat cross-legged in the mountain valley and began to cultivate. Powerful aura burst out without any concealment. Tens of thousands of miles away, a few black-robed people were flying. What's going on? We've been searching for so long, but we haven't found those little bastards. Where did they go? Could it be that they're already far away from this place? Someone growled. Calm down. According to the aura detected by the formation plate, they should be in this area. Let's continue to search. An old voice came from the leader. At this moment, the old man suddenly stopped. There's a reaction. The old man was holding a formation plate in his hand. At this moment, there was a point on the formation plate that was glowing. Gather the others. The old man in the lead said. Soon, more than a dozen people gathered from all directions and flew towards Lu Ming's direction. Not long after, they appeared above the mountain valley where Lu Ming's group was. Lu Ming, Xian Yinqing, and Kong Jin suddenly opened their eyes. They seemed to be a little surprised and stood up one after another. Everyone, what's the matter? Lu Ming asked pretentiously. We're here to kill you. The old man in the lead said. Kill us? Who are you? Lu Ming's face changed drastically, and Xian Yinqing and Kong Jin also pretended to be shocked. Hee, you don't have to ask about this. Go to the underworld and find out. You guys, go down and kill them. The old man waved his hand, and three black-robed people rushed down. Their aura burst out, and they launched a crazy attack towards Lu Ming's group. However, the three of them didn't activate their bloodline, as if they didn't want to expose their identities. The three of them were all at the 6th layer of the spiritual ocean tier, and their battle prowess was extremely terrifying. That old guy is really cautious, Lu Ming thought. Obviously, the old man in the lead sent out 3 people to test the waters first. Lu Ming, Xian Yinqing, and Kong Jin stood together. They didn't want to achieve anything, but they didn't want to make any mistakes, resisting with all their strength. Now wasn't the time to activate the formation. What Lu Ming wanted was to wipe them out in one fell swoop. The three of them worked together and cooperated with each other. The 3 experts at the 6th layer of the spiritual ocean tier couldn't break through their defense at all. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.